Hello and welcome to our 31st vvvv meetup. My name is Randall Vasquez and I'll be your host for today. And welcome. We have a very nice evening planned out for you today. We have plenty of guests that will be showing us their work and their current projects. And if this is your first time here, just know that we're always looking for new people to show their work and that this is an open space for all of us to share what we're doing. So if you're interested in showing us what you're doing, just reach out on the V4 Element chat and we'll be happy to add you for the upcoming meetups. So having that said, we have a lovely audience back in Cologne. Very nice set of people back there for one of the presenters we have for today. And we also have a smaller but very valuable crew also in Berlin, enjoying some beers back there. Hopefully the group grows a little bit. So if you happen to be near Berlin or in Cologne, maybe you want to join up and watch with some lovely company from over there. If you want to join the conversation, you can join us on Zoom, where you can be directly on the call, talk directly with people if you have some questions, maybe get a nicer quality image. And of course, you can also follow us on YouTube, where this is being streamed live as well. So that said, let's go with our first presenter for the evening, which today is Mr. Willi. Welcome, Willi. How are you?
Pretty good. Hello.
Good to have you.
I think I'm just going to share my screen very quickly. Hopefully the correct one. One second. Maybe I'm going to do this first. Oh no, you guys are gone actually.
So just a friendly reminder, I'm going to start this. We're going to have did we say 15 minutes, Mr. Christoph, executive producer?
I think it's 10 minutes and then
10 minutes with 5-minute questions. Correct. All right. So I'm going to start the timer now.
Okay, pressure's on. Do you guys see my screen actually?
Yes.
Nice. I just wanted to shout out very quickly that I have a website and an Instagram account as well. If you guys want to connect somehow or whatever. But let's maybe move on to the actual presentation. So you see my presentation view and not my presenter view?
Yes.
Perfect. Nice. So the project I'm going to present today is called Action Unit. It's my semester project of the last semester, and it is about emotion recognition algorithms. But I'm just going to show you the video first, which displays what it is actually with some nice music, and then I'm going to explain afterwards how it's made and what is actually the background, what is the topic and the reason why I did this actually. So let's start. Hopefully you guys are going to hear. Actually, I think I need to adjust my sharing very quickly for, no, it's actually already optimized for video and sound. There we go. Okay, that's it. Hopefully everybody got that quite nicely with sound and video and stuff. But this project is, as I said already, about in a broader sense how AI and machines tell stuff from your face, and in this specific case, how they know about your feelings or emotions. And it scratches on the topic of effective computing, which is a research topic that got introduced by the MIT Media Lab. But the foundation is actually quite old and goes back to like ancient times of the pseudoscience of physiognomy, where early scientists, so to say, were trying to get some connection of outer looks to inner states and inner feelings. And in the case of emotions, the most early science or scientific research in the modern sense got started by a French scientist called Duchenne. He's working in a psychiatry, I don't know, like psycho hospital. I don't really know the English, the correct English name. And he actually also earned a lot of respect from Charles Darwin, which also took his approach of taking pictures of people. And the experiments he was doing was actually using electrical shocks to induce into the face to create certain facial expressions to then learn more about how these expressions are actually connected to the inner state of the spirit or emotions. And he was doing that by doing electroshocks on his patients in this psycho hospital, like these typical experiments that they've done in the 19th century, which are quite unethically. And then later in the 20th century, some scientists, most namely Paul Ekman, was actually building on top of that. And he introduced the facial action coding system, which is a system that provides action units, hence also the name of the project, that are connected to different motions in the face. So like a smile or raise of an eyebrows are like specific action units, and the combination of these action units are connected to specific emotions in this facial action coding system. And then later on in computer science, coders actually started to do data sets of people basically acting on these emotional expressions and connecting them to the names of the emotions to do machine learning. And the algorithms that actually got out of this process are broadly used today in different softwares, most namely Effectiva, which is also a product of the MIT Media Lab, which is used in what is it, like job applications, where they actually track their applicants with the webcam and see how they emotionally react, or like how their face is changing over time, to like separate people in the application process, but also in gaze tracking in automobile industry and so on. Also on airports, where they try to see if somebody is looking aggressive or dangerous in some kind of sense to check on them. But this like whole research is quite questionable. Like there's a lot of research that this is actually not the ground truth and not connected to real world scenarios. Like just your facial expression is not enough to tell if you're actually angry or actually happy. And I did like a small research experiment first, where I took the photographs of Duchenne and ran them through DeepFace, which is like an early stage open source emotion recognition algorithm. And I think Amir was already doing a small implementation of that, which is running in like on a web server or like some kind of server in the background. But for my project, I was actually using the Python integration by Tebjan, and I developed a script myself to do the facial attribute analysis of deep face in real time and not in the background on a server, which is quite slow. And the whole system of the installation was actually using vvvv, the Python runtime, and then also the Olama integration to do some further analysis of the face with MLMs like Gamma 3 and so on. So like the whole system looked kind of like this. So you're getting the image, doing some face tracking with MediaPipe, which is quite fast. So it gets real-time face tracking, and then this face is actually sent through to deep face to see what facial expressions are corresponding to the emotions and which emotion is like the strongest. And then in the later, all of this data is getting collected, sent to Gamma to actually develop a full profile of that person. And I did all of this to basically show everybody what's inside of the black box that's already used out there in a more advanced algorithms right now. Not like deepface is quite early on, but it's open source, so I could actually use it. But now there are like more advanced algorithms, but they're all building on this facial action coding system by Paul Ekman, which is quite faulty. And those are some videos and photos from the exhibition, the annual exhibition that we actually had at the Burki Wiechenstein University, where I study and where I did this project. And this is actually also the grandma of a good friend of mine, which was very intrigued with my installation because it also predicted her zodiac sign accordingly, which was actually random. But it was really fun. And that's it. Hopefully I'm not like way above 10 minutes.
No, it turns out our producer reached out and corrected me. It was actually 15, so you still have 3 more minutes if you want to dive deeper
You
into
actually
anything.
extended the counter.
I tried to correct it live, but I didn't want to
an
interrupt you.
applause, I guess, guys.
Yes,
Thank you, thank you.
super cool.
I think I don't really want to go too deep. I'm just open for questions. And if you guys happen to be willing to use the deep face algorithm in some kind of sense, you can also extend my script to use facial recognition in real time, for example, which needs a little bit more like building on top. But like the script is already there, and it's also interacting with Stride or like the graphics card textures directly. So that's why it's also super fast. Yeah, so I think that's basically it. And if you guys have some questions, I'm like very happy to answer them.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks again. Very, very nice project. I love the fact that you didn't just stick to the technology, which is already cool. Like, oh, I can detect these things, but you went deeper and like thought about it and have like a counter argument to it, or some, you know, like some criticism or some insight on how well it actually identifies how we feel and how it fails at it as well. I find it very cool. I also think you will be hearing from my boss because we have an upcoming project that needs exactly this, so it couldn't be more timely. So if you have some availability, I'll be reaching out.
I'm
yeah,
doing
man.
my master thesis right now, so right now it's maybe not the best time, but
Okay.
next year, like at the beginning of the next year, I'm open for it for sure.
stay in touch.
Just hit me up.
Amazing. And I wanted to ask, so performance-wise, fully real time, no noticeable issues there?
For like facial attribute analysis, so like if you're male, female, there's nothing in between in this algorithm, unfortunately. But also for like these 6 emotions and race prediction, which is also quite limited. It's like over 90 FPS. It's quite fast if you have like quite a decent graphics card. When it comes to face recognition, I think it's getting quite slow, but I haven't tried that because I haven't had enough time to test that. But I would guess it should be real time as well, at least like 25, 30 FPS or something.
Oh, that's amazing. Super cool. Do we have any questions for Willi from Berlin or maybe from Cologne or anyone here in the Zoom call?
Hi. I was questioning myself what the output of this installation in the end really was. Like I really got out of the video that you should like do the same experiment like they did before. Like you get an expression and you should do it the same way. But what in the end, like the last picture of like all the summarizing was so quick over. So maybe to dive in there again.
Yes, I can actually show that to you again, what is actually shown in the end. I was shortening on that because we had the time limit for our documentation video, which is 2.5 minutes, and it's exactly 2.5 minutes this video, so I needed to like crop down the time. I think I'm just going to share my screen very quickly again and just maybe jump to the point. I think I might be somewhere ready to run it. Oh yeah. Sorry for the sound. Oh yeah, there we go. So DeepFace actually gets you age prediction, gender prediction, race prediction, and also emotion prediction. And the rest, like this extra stuff, is something that I was just experimenting with MLMs. So like multi-model language models. I don't know if you guys already heard of it. It's basically when you not only send text to the AI, you also send images to the AI. So I was sending the images so that you see on the left, which are basically like the highest scores of that person in certain emotions to the AI and explain the whole scenario, and then said, hey, I try to predict beauty, marital status, and this kind of stuff.
Wow.
It's a little bit disconnected from the topic of emotion prediction, but this is something that I was able to do on top because I scraped all of this data. But there's also the actual thing that I wanted to have in the end, concept-wise, was to have some kind of conformity value, which is actually on the top right, which was not that interesting for the viewers. They were more interested in like these traits, you know, like interest in this kind of stuff, which is created by the AI. But what I was aiming for was actually this conformity level. If the person doing this game with the algorithm is actually emotional conform to what the AI sees in your face as emotions. So if you're like emotionally normal or not, you know. Yes. So do you guys actually see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Amazing.
I had another question. Like the interface look really cool. I really like it. Like, what did you use to achieve this? The interface UI part?
The UI part is also just Skia and the rich text kit by I think it's actually by Säbel, which by the way was actually studying at the same university as I think, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, this is basically just Skia. Or well, does it answer the question? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it does. I was curious if it was like MD or Elementor, but yeah, just Kia and the
No,
text stuff.
It was just Skia. Yeah. Also, this is it's basically just Skia.
Okay, thanks.
Very nicely handled, Skia, I would say.
Yeah,
Very nice.
you don't really want to take a look at the patch actually. It looks nice from outside, but not from the inside. So.
Okay. Very cool, man. I mean, thanks for sharing again. I think that's it for the questions for now. So yeah, thanks for sharing. If we want to have a look at this ourselves, you said we could go for the repo and try it out. Did I get that right?
I haven't done any repo yet because I was basically diving from the project directly into my master thesis. So it wasn't on the highest priority right now. But if you guys, you can, like, as I said, I still have my my website somewhere. Just let me know, and I make it possible. You know, it's just if somebody needs it right now, I can do it right now. If somebody needs it later, I do it after my master thesis. So that's like the, so to say, how
Absolutely.
I'd like to handle it.
All right. Thanks for that. And looking forward to see what people do with this as well. Very cool. Yeah, thanks again. It's really nice. Super. Okay. Just a friendly reminder, if you have your own questions and you want to interact a little bit more, I am checking our Element chat live. We also have, of course, the Zoom call where you could directly interact. And I'm also checking our YouTube live stream comments. So you can ask questions or send your love or curiosity on any of those fronts. And we'll be taking that care of that for you. I see our Berlin team is getting a bit stronger. Very happy to see more faces back there and even more coming in as we speak. Very cool. And up next, all the way from Cologne with a beautiful audience and a quite interesting setting, we have MXL Motion Experience Lab with Nina. Hello, Nina. Are you over there?
I'm at Jakob's computer right now.
Okay.
Just to introduce it maybe a little bit. Hi, we are here at the MXL, and for the first time ever, we do the Cologne Up, thanks to Christoph pushing us to do it. And there are actually some public people finding their way here. There's Alex from Düsseldorf. We will introduce him later if we have time. Alex, are you prepared? And then there are some students, and maybe just for a little introduction, I'm here, the professor for image and motion. We all are studying, or we have a study program called integrated design, so it's basically about design. But we also have a second program called code and context, and I have the honor to always mix these two programs together in my classes, and they meet then here in the Motion Experience Lab. And we do things related to, expanded media, of course, but also live coding and everything related to experience and body-human interaction questions and critics, maybe. And for this project, which we would love to introduce or, give you a little snippet, we thought about, giving the students some basic input on vvvv, and therefore I asked actually Juric if he would love to join, and then he was like, hey, why don't you ask Christoph? He's doing the node stuff. And so we ended up meeting each other. He came over and we had a really productive chat and idea. I was, my background is media art combined with type-related things. I had 15 years of studio in Berlin for type and text, so therefore it was kind of obvious to come up with maybe animated posters ideas, but also performing them in a way of using vvv as an activism tool. And that was a little bit the outline. And maybe that's it for the introduction. I pass this over to Christoph, and then we could come up with a framework, which we then gave to students, and then we go from here, I guess. Right, Christoph?
Yeah. And what Nina just outlined, like this whole poster idea opened like thousands of questions for me, like because the workshop was only 2 weeks long, and it was basically 1 week of introduction into vvvv. So that was like the craziest challenge ever, to give the students all the tools into their hands that they need for this animated poster. And I just took the time before to look for the note list that I had back then of all the techniques that I thought they should know. And this is really just what was in this workshop for 3 days. So day one, we went through all the basics, creating a node, and then we jumped into integrating an external lib. This is what Nina just said. So we used like a set of nodes that we branded as the motion experience lib. And it's basically really just a dependency, a file dependency that you put into your patch. Throughout the workshop of 2 weeks, we grew up to version 0.3. So but then on day 2, we had all of this stuff to cover. It was really super crazy, and I think it was also very overwhelming for the students. So we were covering Skia, Stride, texture effects, control sources, post effects, getting a video input into it. Then also what was very important was being able to mask a layer. And on the third day, we went for input. So then we talked about media pipe, NDI, MIDI, Fermata audio. And then on the fourth day, we also had like a crash course on Kairos, which we then used to control and compose all these inputs together. And yeah, what basically the notes are, it's following up a bit on the discussion I had with Sebel and Elias on the link, which is like what would be super handy at some point is like to have like a very easy to use generalized rendering framework. So in this case, the students could use just one node called MXL window containing, yeah, this looks like crap up there, but containing a few things like a regular scene window, a post-processing, post-effect pipeline, being able to send in other renderers into there. And then we had this node MXL layer that we used throughout all the projects. So it's really just a combination of a transformation, a texture that we can send into an alpha. So in that case, I can use this alpha to blend this texture away, and a mask input. And like that, it was really easy for the students to then come up with like little renderings for this poster. And I just connect all of these. It's not so important to go in depth into these. Yeah, so all of these, they work with alpha, they blend each other, they can use another texture to mask something away from the texture. And this is basically what I provided the students. And yeah, I'm really happy to hand over to the student group now, because I think you're going to present now what you created based on that, no?
Forget something, can I just add this? Actually, it was all about protest songs, right? I mean, that was
Yes.
our starting point. Maybe important to know, because it was called Antifa, and we really wanted that they bring something and have an easy start to not only find their way through the technical side, but also from a content side, because we knew it would be challenging to do a 5-minute performance live in a space. So the first week was really technical inputs, and then kind of really continue this, but also installing it in a space, which you will see then in a second. Thanks.
Yeah, we will first maybe introduction. Hi everyone, we attended the project. My name is Nele.
My name is Alpa.
My name is Katja.
And we were a group. There's one person missing actually, Levin, he's not here. But at first we want to show you a little video of the entire project to get a glimpse of what it was like.
Via. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. Oh partigiano. Ciao, 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 partigiano. muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi
Shout out Jakob for editing this in a really short amount of time.
Very nice.
And now we want to showcase you our project and take you a little bit through the process. And for that, this is our performance.
Let me ask you one question. Is your money that good? Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? That never done nothing. Not built to destroy. You play with my world like it's your little toy.
I tried hard to be proud of my service, but all I could feel was shame. Racism could no longer mask the reality of the occupation. These were people, these were human beings. I've since been plagued by guilt anytime I see an elderly man, like the one who couldn't walk, who we rolled onto a stretcher and told the Iraqi police to take him away. I feel guilt anytime I see a mother with her children, like the one who cried hysterically and screamed that we were worse than Saddam as we forced her from her home. I feel guilt anytime I see a young girl, like the one I grabbed by the arm and dragged into the street. We were told we were fighting terrorists. The real terrorist was me, and the real terrorism is this occupation.
So yeah, this was the final performance, and we're just gonna talk a little bit about our process. Because as Christoph said, he taught us the basics in vvvv, but it was not just that, so it was not just a technical course, but we also had to develop a whole performance within 2 weeks, and a design concept around it. And none of us has ever touched vvvv. No. I mean, I do a lot of stuff in Touch Designer, but I would say it's a whole different world, kind of, because in Touch Designer you can just do a little bit of this and that, and then, I don't know, everything is kind of random and can look cool, but I would say vvvv doesn't work like that. However, so, oh, yeah, this is when when we had the V4 classes, and for the conceptual part, everything built up on these 3 protest songs that each of us chose. And yeah, this was the starting point. So we merged all of these 3 tracks into one and built a whole narrative around it. And the topic of this was breaking out of power structures. And once we finished that soundtrack, we built a dramaturgy and then continued with the visuals. These are some key visuals that we used, or like the static posters. And yeah, everything had to be coherent in a way. And we thought about interactions and also about the spatial performance. So there was a lot we had to going on. So I don't know, for the spatial performance, I don't know, we were wearing masks and there was a treadmill. So yeah, and then we had to create all of this, and for this we developed a workflow, so we divided all roles, and then in the end bring this whole performance together.
Yeah, exactly. So how Nelly has already said, there was the performance on all the different surfaces, and there was a lot of tools that we used as well. So the main tool was, of course, the vvvv, although we also used a lot of assets and presets from all other different tools. So we were working in Adobe programs. We were using inputs that we also connected with the sketch. As for the inputs, we used camera, and we put also special effects for this camera in vvvv. And the most interesting part was the button. The button was self-made, and we connected that with the sketch over MQTT. And it was very nice that our team consisted of all different people from amazing backgrounds. So we had a person who was a technician and who was actually very much into all this communication between the button and the sketch. Then, as Nelly said, we created a new track, and this is what Nelly was doing. And Alper was responsible for the visual assets. And at the end, I merged everything together. This is a little bit of a glimpse of how our sketch looked like. And yeah, fortunately, everything worked out. And yeah, we completed each other in that way. Yeah. Thank you so much. If you have questions, yeah.
Thank you for sharing this very interesting and very beautiful project. Thank you so much. I mean, I love it. Already, we had some love from the chat in the Zoom call from Pakreht. I think it's really interesting. Again, like I told Willi before, it's really nice to see something that's not only artistic, but also has some commentary and some substance to it. So that's very refreshing and very good to see these tools used in contexts like those as well. So thank you for that breath of fresh air. I don't know if anyone has any questions for MXL and the whole team right now, maybe in Berlin or maybe in Cologne.
Hi, Berlin is talking. Hi, Nina. Nice to see you again. I liked it a lot. I liked also that Antifa is compared to vvvv, and the soundtrack was also amazing. I'm a big fan of. I'm interested because for all of you, it was first time and you're really into performance. And so what was then after I don't know how long the seminar was going on, or the impression of working.
2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks.
So after all of this, even if you have knowledge before touch designer, what is your feedback of getting nerdy with all these gray blocks?
Well, that was definitely a very special experience. Some people from our team are coming from coding background, and we're very used to working with numbers and all these values. The values are interchangeable and somehow are overconnected. But this was, yeah, I would say a very new world, and this combination, this intersection of programming and the visual output was personally for me something fascinating. Do you want to say something?
You want to say something? Okay. Also, that Nina mentioned, probably we are students from Code and Context and from KIST, and I think it's like really common that we are all the time in this situation, that someone is like one that we learn vvv, or also our professor like Unity and all these kind of complicated programs in 2 weeks, or probably in 2 days sometimes. But I think it's like really fun to really try hard to go deep into these topics. And I don't know, also we had like a lot of support from Christoph and from Nina. So I think we had a long night before the performance, but in the end, also probably you mentioned that the treadmill was not working all the time, but we just said, I don't know, in the end, fake it till you make it. So yeah, I think it was fun.
Yeah, and in terms of touch designer, I would say like I was the only person from KIST, from the integrated design program. So I would say interface-wise, for me, it's easier to work with touch designer. But then I'm also like, I don't know, I would like to dig deeper into vvv, especially because you don't have to pay $300 every year to get a new update for the commercial version. But yeah.
Some advice for the coders in Berlin? They're sitting there. Try hard.
I think
just try hard.
No, I think what was really nice for us was the Big Bang. Was it called Big Bang?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like, yeah, what is the Big Bang?
I'm a bit lost now. Where are we?
Christoph, you have to explain the Big Bang.
Yeah, it's this beginner's tutorial series that I developed, and that I'm basically shooting at every beginner in the courses. First thing, yeah. I just want to take the chance to this presentation was a blast from the past. It was really nice to see this, and it was really one of the most exciting projects this year for me. So thank you very much for taking up the courage to present this, and also together in Cologne. This is so cool to see new people patching in V4. And yeah, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you to come over actually and pushing this very hard and sharing all this knowledge. It's really, really worthy, and we love it a lot. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay, super cool. Thanks again. And up next, I think from beautiful Greece, we have none other than Mr. Konstantin himself. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Nice to see you again after a while. It was since the fourth meeting, I think. So yes. I will, let's say, introduce myself. I will share my screen. So I'm Konstantinos Cnisidis. I'm a visual artist based in Athens. And it's the last, let's say, 5 years, mostly that I'm working on this field of visual industry for concerts and gigs, basically. So for today, I had many different ideas how or what I would present to you. And I ended up that I will start as we agreed, like to fill this gap between touch designer and 4V, because Fuse was something really impacting, but it was quite hard for me to get into it and use it in the way that I was willing to. And also there was always this demand from either clients or collaborators that they were sending me small videos or reels, like this is what they do with Touch Designer, can we do this in 4V, and so on. And I started following Touch Designer tutorials just to understand what is the approach. And then I realized that it would be possible just to transfer few of them or follow them in 4V instead. It's okay, ended up to be something kind of weird somehow, but it works. So let me jump to, I will, not the pink buffer, maybe this one, yes. So again, this is a tutorial that anybody can find over YouTube. I think it's from Salad Market. In Touch Designer, he's doing amazing tutorials for GPU particles made the old-fashioned way, which basically means mostly ping-pong buffers and instancing. So I tried to follow all the steps from the very first one till the end to reproduce the same exact patch, just with textures. It's quite small, pretty small, and clean, I would say. Of course, I had to reinvent the wheel for some things, like, for instance, for the space, for some transformations from noises, threshold had to be updated somehow. And I ended up with a collection of different nodes that they're resembling basically the way that the Touch Designer is working under the hood. It's not exactly clone, but it tends to be honest. Okay, but this is not that interesting to me at this point. That was the issue that I was mentioning before. How much time do I have? I can see it.
12 minutes still. I think we're good.
Anyhow, there's a repository. It's not yet publicly available. I will make it as soon as possible. Always be the embarrassed about the way that I'm coding, and I have to polish it, and then you can, of course, just use it, contribute, do whatever you like with it. For me, one of the latest things that really occupied me or kept me busy was the digital signal processing. That was the big thing for me the last, let's say, 1.5 years. And for that one, I will jump to Tactus. Tactus is basically an application that I started building entirely in 4V. And it's capable of extracting audio features from getting a transformer like an FFT or STFT or wavelets, up to having features like crest, entropy, or whatever you would like to use. Just to show you quickly how this is working, it's also it has also this node feeling, but it's not really nodes. However, you can always connect them. Is there some? Okay. I'm receiving something. I need something like a music, maybe. I don't know. Can you hear this? Loud?
That's good.
So this is, let's say, the FFT, and then I can use a feature extractor. By default, this is entropy. This could be probably on average. Pick something low. I can see beneath. I don't know if the resolution is good enough, but below I can see the hertz, the bands that I'm picking at the moment. I can add the trigger, of course. I can put it there. I can change the sensitivity, the threshold, basically. And the most important part for me was to use this somehow, to export it, like as an OSC value, either as a Boolean one or just picking this one and having a continuous float value. There are several things, like for instance a decimator, which can of course give me a different resolution. Having a better spread in my frequencies. I definitely have an amplifier. There are more to be done in the pre-processing stage. I can add another feature. Maybe this time I will pick something like a flux. Flux is the difference between two frames. I'm using STFT. Change the definition, add another trigger, fit it there, change my threshold, put it over there, and obviously I can then have something to accumulate or to use this. Don't have something really here, but server OSC. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, and these are my values basically. Let's see, super. It's a spread float. And this is where I'm getting now my values, and I can use them in any other patch. And yeah, this is a Tactus. I hope that I'm planning to release it at some point as yeah, maybe something like an application standalone. I don't know. It's a bit complicated even for me. I mean, it's not really in my control at the moment. It's expanding, and you know, it's getting harder and harder to maintain it. But yeah, this is the intention, more or less.
Wow, man, it looks amazing. I mean, it looks great, literally, and also the way you're using it and what you can do with it looks incredible. Incredible. Very cool. Also, the name is nice. Tactus, no? Yeah. Round of applause. I mean, I don't know if you're done. You still have 6 minutes. Yeah, and you just slid it on the table like, oh, and by the way, I have this tool, and suddenly we're looking at this. I don't know if you have more, but yeah, incredible stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry because I don't know what really to start saying about this thing. It uses N waves. It's also using VL audio, mostly as an input. And there are more plans to add some MIDI controls and some binders, so you can have hands-on interaction and not just being, you know, cabling and stuff.
Okay. And are you currently using this yourself for performances or stuff, or is it more like a personal project? Okay.
I do. It started basically as a request from a client 2 years ago. Of course, it didn't look like this. We were very ambitious about the outcome, it proved that we had to go a different way. And then I realized that, okay, I can just, gather all this information and knowledge that I had by looking and researching and build something more robust and more, to my needs, just from something for, yeah. But this is it. So, yeah, I hope that you will have this soon as well in your arsenal.
Nice.
And play, test, and so on.
Incredible.
And thank you again for having me once, again. But I will try to be on the next one because I think we have more. We have more to say in the show.
Okay, looking forward to that. You heard it here first. Stay tuned. More upcoming news on our Greek front. And amazing aesthetics, amazing sound. And also very cool, the first stuff you showed, this initiative of learning through the touch designer material and finding the way to integrate that knowledge into the V4 workflow.
Yeah,
There's
I
surely stuff to learn.
I promise to spend more time on the TD4V side, but I think that as soon as it will be released and be publicly available, then whoever wants to know more about it, it's fully documented, and they will have the chance, to dig and get things out of it.
Amazing. Can I ask you, I love the visuals, but I'm opening questions now, and it would be better to see your face, I would say, for everyone. So you're getting some love. Christoph is blown away by it already. And also from past studio, they say, hello, great stuff, Mr. Cnisidis. So yeah, very, very lovely stuff. I don't know if we have any questions from, a round of applause for you all the way out there in Cologne. Very nice. I don't know if we have any questions or comments. Also, people in Berlin giving you love. Everyone is blown away, I think. But do we have any questions, words of love, support?
I have one. Yeah.
Yep.
It look amazing first. I really love it, and I made a VG set recently, so look really useful for that. I was curious. I've used a bit of VL audio to make this VG set. I found that it was quite limiting. It doesn't have a lot of stuff. For most of the triggers and stuff, do you just basically use the FFT array and do operation on that? Also, do you use, would it be possible to use a GPU to process the whole FFT array in a more optimized way? Yeah, I was just curious about how do you extract useful information just from the FFT, because I think it's the only really useful thing you can get from VL audio side. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I will start from the end. Using GPU for audio processing is beyond my knowledge. Sounds like a very, very nice idea, but I don't think that this is my cup of tea. Regarding your first question, I think that at least in my case, I didn't use VL Audio beside, having the driver and all these goodies that are coming with for getting the audio input. Everything else from the STFT, FFT, and so on is being done in another library. I think it's partially available in VL Audio. There are some parts of that are being used under the hood. Which being called N-Waves. It's the same family with an audio.
Can you type this in the chat or something? Because I just knew VL Audio, but I didn't know there were other audio library. So that's good to know.
It's not a native VL library. It's not a Gamma library. It's C#.
It's a nugget. But
yes.
Okay, thanks.
Let me check.
And it looked amazing too. So yeah, great work.
Hi. First of all, thank you, and I'm really looking forward to have it in my own hands and play around with it. And the other thing what I was really curious of, you mentioned in the beginning you will play with both, like vvvv and touch designer, and like how is this going? Where this journey is going?
How's it going? It's interesting. It doesn't go anywhere, to be honest. I'm stuck with the 4V for many years. It's very hard for me. It's very hard to learn all the dog new tricks. But I think that there are a lot of similarities. The funny part is that I started with Touch Designer in 2007, 2006, and then I discovered the 4V and I said, okay, fuck it, this is what I want to do. So for me, Touch Designer is not something that I would jump at the moment, but I have seen people doing really nice stuff with it, and I was wondering how I can merge these two different ways of thinking or approaches. That was it. Probably I will continue to bringing and porting stuff little by little, but I don't have any intention just to try to merge them in a different way or whatever. If I get your question correctly.
Thank you. And so, like what you showed now, like for comprehension, it was totally built in vvvv with like C# extensions, or how can I imagine? So, okay.
Yes, correct. But do not imagine that I'm using that much C# in this occasion. It's mostly for enums and some type definitions. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Super cool. Sebastiano Barbieri gave you a white and a black heart on the YouTube chat, so all colors of love coming your way. And yeah, man, thanks again. Very
Thank
cool
you.
stuff. Looking forward to getting our hands on it soon, as we
Of
were.
course.
Okay, thanks again. Amazing.
Woo!
Oh,
Love to Athens.
love to
Can you
Athens.
come over,
Amazing.
learn us some TD and vvvv, merge bridges, whatever.
Yeah, that's an open invitation, man. Take it or leave it. Yeah, there you go. All right. I almost forgot to say my camera almost doesn't make justice to it, but I undusted this and found it somewhere in the past from the good old first days of VL. It barely fits, but hey, it's still doing its job.
We need more t-shirts. More t-shirts.
Yes.
More dress code.
Formal dress code indeed. All right, we're halfway through what's turned out to be quite a nice meetup so far. And up next, we have none other than the devs themselves. I have no idea what they have prepared for us today, but I can see Juric is looking ready. So
this is the inventor of vvv for the guys here in Cologne who don't know. One of them. Maybe you can introduce really from scratch, Juric. Would you be so
Yeah,
kind?
of course.
Thank you.
Read it up
Love
on the
it.
internet.
20
Ask
years.
your favorite LLM about it. No, I want to tell you about two things today. I have to share my screen first.
all right. Should I start your timer, sir? Are you ready?
Yes, please.
Started.
Share. Is my screen on?
It is now, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first thing I want to mention is next week, Wednesday, there is an Open Dome meetup that's organized by the lovely people of the Node Institute here. It's happening in the B Dome, which is a half dome here in Berlin in Warschauer Straße. It's just an open meetup for anyone who wants to come there and show their patches on the big screen. So if that sounds interesting to you, see you there. But now I want to show you what we've been developing recently. Now, people use vvvv for three things. Simplified, of course, right? So we like simplifications. people do like rapid prototyping, like quickly connecting things together, testing things, because obviously vvvv is the best platform to do that kind of things. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, is like large-scale, interactive, immersive, bespoke, site-specific installations. Because obviously vvvv is kind of the best tool to do these kind of things. Third, what people do more and more, and we just saw it in the presentation by cnisidis, is they build their own tools, because everyone knows vvvv is the best tool to build tools. And it's become even better at doing so since we introduced a way to export applications, right? So I'm not sure if cnisidis had this as a standalone application, what he showed, but he could have exported it and then just run it, give it to anyone, and they would run it as a Windows application. And that's great. People can do this. They build their own media servers, kind of, where they have their app, but then it's a kind of a modular system, this app, that they can configure it at runtime, showing different visual modules or sound modules or whatever. And that's great, but it has this kind of awkward limit that whenever you want to change any of the little modules that do just a little thing in the application, just a little visual here or a sound generator there, then you can do that, but you would always have to export the whole app again to give it to someone, even if you change just a small part of the app. And so this is what we were looking into recently to improve this workflow. For this, we built a little demo app. This is it. So consider this to be a very fancy app, similar to what cnisidis showed us and what people are building. Consider this to be a full-blown media server, right? That has features where I can choose different visual modules. I can, like, obviously very simplified, some generating some visuals, and I can change parameters in these visuals, and then I can choose the other visual again, or I can choose no visual here. And then here, just another graphics pipeline. Here I have some graphics effects that I can exchange at runtime when, again, they react to my parameters. Very simplified again. And finally, we have an example of an audio plugin. This loads an VST. You don't hear it. I have this disabled, but you see there is some sound coming out. I can change the volume here. So consider these little modules that are happening there as little plugins, essentially, to a bigger app, right? And now the question is, would it be possible to change or add or remove any of these small little plugins without having to completely build this app again? Now, to show you that these are actually already kind of dynamic plugins, I will now close this app and show you how it looks. That's the exported demo app here. I can, that's just the executable I start, and you see there is a folder called plugins, and in this folder you see these names that you also saw in the drop downs there. These are the actual plugins. Now, if I start this application without the plugins folder, let's see what happens. The app starts, takes a while, but we don't have any elements here in the drop down, right? So you see really what the app does at startup. It's looking in a plugins folder, and let's see what has to be in the plugins folder. If you just look there for the plugin A. Now this is a bunch of DLLs there. And really, this is just an export of this little small plugin. Let's just redo that. So now we have the application started without any plugin, and here I have opened in VL just this plugin A, right? So this is just a very small thing that does that visual that we saw earlier, right? It's not being executed right now because it's just really the definition. And what it does, it's implementing an interface, and the interface is specified here. It's very trivial. It just takes a skier paint as input and returns a skier layer as output. And we see that here in the implementation. There is the paint coming in and the layer going out. So any number of plugins, patches that I create that follow this interface are now pluggable into this app, right? So to demonstrate this, I will now just export this plugin. And you see it is already set up in a way that it will now export to the right folder. So this takes a moment. And if it works, this is a live demo, so usually these things have a chance of not working. But let's see now.
Does it take a moment, Juric?
Sorry?
Why does it take a moment?
The export takes a moment because it's doing very heavy lifting and writing all these DLLs to this. That just takes a moment. But now I have this rescan plugins folder here. If I click it, I will then have plugin A in the list, and I can choose it then and play it, right? So I hope this demonstrates the principle of what's happening here. And now, obviously, so far, I showed you this implementation of the interface, but it's not running, and it's kind of hard to, how would you develop such a plugin, right? When it's not running, you kind of want to develop, and how to debug it, right? So for this, what you have to do is, and let me just close these all briefly. What you do is you open a document that's called plugin dev, and what this does is it's opening the app, but in a development mode, so to say, where we just have in this document referenced all these plugins just as VL documents. No? If I now go to plugin A and I instantiate it here, then I see that it's actually running in the patch, and I can debug it and I can change it. And I don't know if I do something here. I don't know the patch too much, but yeah, you see, it's now running. The plugin is running live in the app. I can play with all the plugins. This is how I would develop them. And once they are done, I go there, export them individually. They are now represented not as a VL document, but as a bunch of DLLs. And these are then the ones that I can just ship to a client, and they would just add it to their plugins folder. You know, like you would do with VST plugins. You're maybe familiar with that. When you get a new VST plugin, you don't have to get a new Ableton version, right? You just install that plugin. And so now this is what we demonstrate here. And you can use this yourself and try it. There is a new repository that's public just now on our GitHub. It's called App with Plugins Demo. It has a bunch of, that's real, nope. It's actually here. That's the one, the screenshot. So it has a lengthy a description here of do's and don'ts and things to consider. It's like if you think, like, it's a bit of a nerdy topic, but anyway, this whole thing is already a bit of a nerdy topic, Nina, right? It's probably too much.
It's like
but
a Derby evangelist talk here.
yeah. But so it looks maybe appealing, but also we have to say, like, it's obviously a trap, like of DLL hell that you can easily run into when you do things like this. So that's why we wrote down a list of guidelines that you really have to follow in order not to break your systems down the road. But if you follow these, you can make kind of media server style apps with plugins that you can exchange as you will. That's the demo.
You should sell it for $3.99.
Yeah. And yeah, you, as I said, it's up on GitHub. We encourage you to download it and try it. Yeah, you can build it. But really, when you do it, you really should follow these instructions quite literally, because it has a few things. Yeah.
Can I make
it's
a
not,
comment?
Yes, please.
I know, like, my ex-partner Kefir, he was actually patching and setting up like a whole system for a piano artist who became actually really famous. Laurenz Teinhardt is his name. And this would be perfect to making his updates. So thanks a lot for sharing this.
That's the kind of things that you can do with it. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm also really looking forward. I already screenshotted it.
I have a technical question, if I may.
Yeah.
Of course, in case that, for instance, we want to use another library, like I want to add OSC capability to my application already that I have. Can I port this, have it only on my plugin, or shall I have it also in my main app?
Now, if you want to reference, for example, OSC just in a plugin.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. Any dependencies of plugins are just that. But now comes the tricky part. You have to make sure that all the plugins that use that dependency use the same version. And here it gets, right? Here it gets a bit interesting.
Understatement of the year, right there. I also have a question. Is this interface locked in? Do I always need to take in a paint and give out a...
No.
No, this is
obviously
flexible,
the interface is completely up to your application. You can invent your own. That was just the simplest we could come up with.
Fair enough. Thanks for that.
I also have a question regarding this. I'm already using this kind of plugin approach. Like, I have my own lib where I put a bunch of generic stuff, and I always include this into my projects. Like, is the update right now that I can like export my library as a DLL and include this instead?
I would say this is not useful for personal projects or like.
Okay.
This is useful for when you're building an app.
Okay.
But not for like prototyping quick things, or building large-scale installations, or running your own custom setup library. That isn't
Yeah,
useful.
it's more
It's really
to
useful
okay.
for building an app and being able to modularize the app and add a plugin system to it. No?
Okay, got it. Thanks.
I have another question. I was curious on how independent these apps are that are exported from V4.
What do you mean by independent?
Like, does the user needs to have any nuggets installed, or does the user have to have V4 installed for them to work?
No, that's the whole point, is if you create an export from vvvv, then the user doesn't have to know anything about vvvv. It's just a Windows application, which may have dependencies that the user needs to install. But these are not your nuggets. Like any nugget that you reference, these will be exported with it. But usually it's a .NET dependency, which is or device drivers, like for if you're using a special camera or what, then the user of the app also has to install that driver first. No? Okay. But anything that you reference in vvvv and all the nuggets there, these are part of your exported app.
Juric, you used, sorry, was that question resolved?
Yeah, that was resolved. Thank you.
Okay.
Like in the demo, if you change the color, if you keep the export, I mean, if you close it, if you open again, can you save that color again somewhere?
Of course, but that's just part of the host application, right?
Okay, that is to store the new value.
Yeah. The host application would have an idea. Look, this was the last plugins that you had active with those values, and that's not part of this. No?
I also have another small question, maybe. It's about the interface. The interface is like, it's the interface between the plugin developer and the application developer. So, and how does the plugin developer know about the interface from the app developer? Is there an automated way, or does the app developer has to say, hey, that is my interface, please just use that? And
yeah.
That's not in public. Okay. There's a structure you need to follow.
So there's a certain way, and
you
then
need to have a basically a core where the interface is not defined, and then you have your host and the plugin which just references the core.
So as a plugin developer, you just say, hey, I want to develop a plugin for that app, so I install the core for that app, and then everything's okay.
But it's in the README.
Good. Interfaces. Can the interfaces inherit another interface? So that I have a standard interface for it. I'm a node, and then the next I'm this one, I'm this one, I'm this one. So is it possible?
There's no restriction on the interface.
Okay, then there's no.
It was all about loading DLLs, loading the associated sprite bundles and shaders, and making all that stuff work. It's not about the.
It's not about that. Okay.
But we don't have inheritance of interfaces, so you would have to do that in C# then, I guess.
Yeah, but I can
provide the interface.
It's not part of.
Okay. And just for understanding, I thought if you show the plugin, there was a lot of DLLs, so we have a lot of duplicated DLLs.
Yes.
That's the crap.
There is
the stride is everywhere.
In the README about this.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
A question regarding public channels.
Hello, David.
Like some confusion with public channels. So like I have like a public channel in one app and then the same public channel name in the other app. Like can there be?
The other plugin.
Yeah, and the other plugin.
Global channels or public channels all share the same namespace. So obviously you need to find the.
Okay, and if I have the same name 2 times, like cause someone else can build another plugin and they have the same
I think
name.
that's something you would need to document in
your
app development guidelines. That the plugin chooses its own namespace prefix, so that this does not happen.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
What did I miss?
Would you say this potentially opens the door to a world where independent developers could put out compiled versions of plugins that other agencies and people could use and reuse? Is this like potentially the birth of a NuGet-like ecosystem where people could use compiled versions of other people's work? Or is that not really the intention?
In theory, yes. In practice, it will not work because
versions, dependencies,
read the
and all
README.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, read the README. Copy that. Understood. All right. Well, thanks again. Very cool. Very exciting. You got people on the YouTube chat looking forward to this as well. So yeah, good job there, and thanks for sharing. Next, we have Pakreht. I hope I said it close enough. Yes.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen.
All right, let me start your 15-minute timer for you. Just tell me when you're ready.
When the screen is shared, it should be good. Okay. Okay, is it working?
It's still loading. Now we see, yes, your
Okay,
browser,
cool.
I believe. Right, starting
Yeah,
the
I just
timer.
showed the Instagram. So, okay, so just quick presentation because first time here. And sorry for the terrible mic. I had a better mic, but it broke, so I just have the webcam microphone right now. Sorry for that. So, yeah, I come from video games. So I study like programming and games, work a bit in games, and now I'm trying to go more to the art installation world. I was heavily using Houdini before, which is a 3D software like Blender. And when I tried to switch to more interactive stuff, I've tried using Touch Designer for a year. Didn't quite liked it, so I switched to vvvv. And yeah, I really love it. So I'm really happy to be here and to share what I've made with this stuff. Yeah, so I have two things to show. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time to show everything. So let's go. I have some screenshots. It's gonna be easier to tell the whole timeline. So one of the main thing I've been working on is to make a plugin, which it's kind of like most of the work. It's more on the Houdini side, but it's to connect Houdini to vvvv. So Houdini, for the one who don't know, it's basically like Blender, the 3D software, but it's only nodal and it's really data flow oriented. So it's like Blender, but more for programmer and technical people, I would say. And I wanted to make an OSC bridge to connect vvvv with Houdini, so I can use Houdini in 4V. Just to clarify, Houdini is not made for real time, like absolutely not. But based on how I know the software, I was curious to try to use it in a real time context, even if it's really not made for that. So yeah, it's the quick disclaimer. So that's one of the first tests I've made. So this is Houdini window right here. And this is 4V sending OSC data, and it's basically controlling the position of the sphere. And from there, I can send like basically vvv here. I have FFT based on audio of Spotify right here. So FFT on vvv side, and I'm sending the FFT data through OSC to Houdini, which is able then to display the thing in the 3D environment. And yeah, so Spotify, vvv using the FFT stuff, and Houdini receive it and display it. I have a bunch of pictures, and you're gonna start to understand where it's going, because I've done a lot of tests. So yeah, again, audio stuff, And that's a visualization in Houdini, but it's vvvv which is sending the audio data. So yeah, a bunch of stuff. From there, what I've done is that now I have 4V which can send OSC data to Houdini. So I've got, I was using a Kinect before, and then I got Orbeck femtobolt to get body tracking. And I have the body tracking rig, like because we can get pretty easily with the Azure Kinect SDK the bones position and stuff. And I'm sending all of this to Houdini in real time. And Houdini is basically just, yeah, so the body detection is done vvvv side, and it's being sent to Houdini in real time. So we can see here the depth camera, the mask in VL, and it's the Houdini viewport on the left. So yeah, and more tests. Then I've tried to, no, yeah, it's again just the rig with the correct rotation and stuff. I can jump and everything work perfectly fine. And then, oh, it's the same video maybe? Yeah, it's the same. I've tried to skin the rig Houdini side. So it was a pain in the beginning because there's not a lot of information on that. So that's kind of the wrong one. I had some funny moment where, yeah, kind of weird result. And after a lot of troubleshooting, I ended up having something which is kind of okay. So I have the stride view here with the depth. And yeah, it's just I can have a mesh of myself in Houdini. And yeah, maybe I should clarify why I'm doing all this, because when it comes to manipulating geometry, Houdini is super powerful. Like it have what is called SOP, which is a geometry processing nodes, and it's super powerful. Like it's the most powerful pipeline for this. So the goal is to use the power of Houdini to manipulate geometry data and get it back on VL for display. So yeah, so right now I was just sending the rig being skinned on the Houdini side. Yeah, it's not myself, it's a friend who is doing a dance right here. Yeah. And then I played on sending the mesh back to VL. So, or vvv, I never know if I should say VL, vvvv, or 4V. But okay, so the mesh is being sent back. So right now it's the opposite. It's the Houdini mesh, which is being sent to vvv and it's being reconstructed in the stride view right here. So it's the mesh being generated by Houdini, animated in Houdini, and VL is just receiving and rendering the thing. I had some funny bugs because OSC have some message size limit and stuff. So yeah, discovered that. And I ended up having something that worked, like I can send any mesh. Like it have size limits because it's built on an UDP which have a limit in the packet size basically. But I can send any Houdini mesh in real time to VL, and I just have it in the window in VL side. And this is so this is where I'm at this point. Then I started to make some particle simulation in Houdini because it's also great for all of the simulation stuff. So I had a bit of fun. And then I started assembling the final test setup. So what is happening right here is that I have, okay, so there's the simulation. You can see the point are following me right here, the particles. They are following me and turning around myself. And what's happening is that in vvvv, there is the body tracking being done by Azure SDK. The rig, like all the bones position, is sent to Houdini. Houdini is then from this rig animating the mesh and doing a point simulation on the mesh. And then Houdini send back the animated mesh plus the particles to VL, to vvv, and vvv is doing the rendering of all this. So in the end, everything is in 4V in terms of the visual, like this window, it's vvv, but all of the processing, I would say, it's done in Houdini. But it's transparent because in the end, I just have the stride window. And yeah, but there is Houdini behind doing all of the particle stuff. And you can see the pointer turning around me and following me. And it's all in real time. And that's the strength of this setup because Houdini can do great thing easily. And you have a lot of creative control on simulation, which is often when you try to make simulation, you really don't have a lot of control, like creative control over the simulation, because you just code it and then it's kind of hard to get that. Houdini is great at this, to have creative control on simulation. So that's the goal. It's to get this and use it with vvv. So yeah, that's the basically the final test scene. Yeah. And the goal is to this is where I'm going. It's to make more advanced simulation and sending them to 4V and also keep everything in real time, which is a challenge because again, Houdini is not made for real time. So I have to always optimize stuff Houdini side. And all of this is to make an installation. So it's an art installation project I have where it's gonna be basically a reflection kind of style, and yeah, having stuff grow on yourself and stuff like this. So yeah, that's the whole adventure I had with the both of this stuff, and I can do a little demo yeah, quickly. So I have Houdini right here, and I've made really nice assets. So they are called HGA in Houdini, and these are basically nodes which contain stuff, and you can make anything, you can put anything in it, and it's self-contained. So I've made those assets, and in the end, it's just a Houdini plugin. I haven't released it anywhere, but it's a plugin, and it's called Houdini OSC, and this makes it possible to have OSC in Houdini. So what I'm doing right now is just I have a cube. I have particles which are just point on a cube, and both are animated. So I have the cube, I have the points, and I did the same style of VL. So I have an OSC client here. I can put the IP and port. I have an OSC send trimesh, which is a special node to send mesh data. Send particle is to send particles. I also have a standard OSC send where I can send any attributes. So I can make any type of data and send it with this. I can say, oh, send this attribute to this OSC stuff. So I have all of this. I play the timeline, so it cook every frame. And then if I go vvv side, I have the OSC server, and I've made also nodes, which is OSC receive particle and OSC receive trimesh, and it's here. So I have the same thing as in Houdini. So yeah, it's the same, oops, like this. So yeah, and I receive the particle and the points. I also send the normals, so everything is shaded correctly and stuff. So yeah, that's the thing I've been working on. Yep. I have a Vidging set I've made in also recently, but maybe it's not really relevant or would have time to show it. So I think maybe it's better to focus on this thing. So yeah, if you have any question already, that would be cool. If you have done
I mean, I'm gonna stop the timer and let's give you a round of applause. This is incredible, man. I'm blown away. Like, really, what? So, first of all, how real time did you manage to get this working? Because I imagine, and you mentioned it already, there must be limitations. Because as you
Okay,
also
yeah.
said, this thing is not built for real time. So you're basically hacking real time functionality out
Yes.
of this. No?
Yes, exactly. You can see a frame rate here, so it's 20 FPS right now, 24. By default, Houdini is 24, so it's real time right now. But the thing is that any stuff you make, it's gonna cook every frame, so 24 times per second, And if it costs a lot, it's gonna be slow. So I have to take this into account. But I would say it's a limitation I could. It's hard to play with if you are not familiar with Houdini, but it can be. There are great tools in Houdini. For example, there's this thing where I can just play and record and it tell me which nodes take the most compute time. So then I
Right,
can
like a
see, oh, okay, this
performance
one costs
already.
quite a lot. Yeah, so I can check and I can optimize. So right now it's real time. Also, the video I showed, like this one with the particles, it was also real time. So everything
That's
was working.
incredible. You get the whole loop from before into sorry, I forgot it.
Houdini, yeah.
Houdini and back, and it's still in the 30
And it's
frame
real
loop.
time
That's
right here.
incredible.
So yeah, but you are not, because when you think about Houdini, for the people who know the software, they think about water simulation, destruction, like those things. They take hours just to render a few frames, so you may not have this real time, but you can still have the whole pipeline processing, like processing pipeline of the geometry, and you have the power of this then accessible. So yeah.
Amazing. And well, that was then my next question. What exactly are you sending? Are you sending the whole geometry, like all the vertices, all the normals?
The for the mesh, what I'm sending is I can check the symmetry mesh. I can check VL side. It's easier to understand, I think, because when I receive the tree mesh, I receive the vert position, vert normal, and vert index. I'm using there's a checkbox, I think. Where's the thing? Because there is two ways to recreate the mesh with dynamic mesh. And basically I'm using the one which have index. What it meant is that on the cube, for example, if the normal is smooth, I would only send one vert for because sometimes how to say this, it's the same thing that is happening in the rendering pipeline. You have because if you don't do this, you would have a lot of duplicates where vert are in the same place. For example, in this cube, there are like in this corner, there are like a lot of vertex, like one for this triangle, one for this triangle, one for this triangle, and one for this triangle. But I'm not sending the same position a bunch of time. I'm sending it once, and then I'm using index. So
okay, you are optimizing a little bit
yeah,
already.
it's being optimized quite as much as I can, basically.
All right.
So yeah, this index stuff is making it possible to send less data. Yeah.
And are you
I think it's
compressing this in any way or doing any fancy
No,
binary
I'm
stuff?
not.
No.
I'm not. Because it had a cost of decompression on the receiving port. I don't know if it's worth it yet. Maybe I'm gonna have to face it at some point, but because the bottleneck is not gonna be the sending. I think it's gonna be just the Houdini processing part, which need to still be real time. But the sending, I'm not sending huge videos. I'm just sending a few vertices, so it's okay.
Very cool stuff, man. Thanks for answering my questions. Do we have any more questions? Berlin, Cologne, Zoom, YouTube. I mean, YouTube is giving you a lot of love already. People are very interested. They want it for Blender, so I think you have your hands full for
Because
a
I
few
thought
years.
about it. I'm not a Blender person, but it should be possible too. So yeah, because they have Python. So I made all of this in Python. Like all of this add-on, it's mainly like 99% just Python code because I have to start the OSC server, send stuff, manage the server and stuff. So yeah, in Blender have Python too. So
that was another question out there for you, whether this was working on Python, and now we know it is.
yeah.
And now we're getting the question: is the communication done through Python or through OSC? I think OSC, no?
Okay, on Houdini, there is Python being already natively integrated, and you can use it to make tools. So I've added Python OSC, which is a Python library to handle OSC. And I'm using Python OSC on Python on the Houdini side, and VL side is just the native OSC, is the native OSC stuff. But yeah, Python plus Python OSC package on Houdini side.
Very cool. Amazing.
I
So
have a
questions,
question. Yeah.
comments? Oh, we have a question. Yep.
On the one side,
The
I
sound is a
really
little low over there, you guys. If you could do a little
low,
bit
better.
A little better, yes, thank you.
A little better. So I have a question. First, I want to say I really appreciate and really am fascinated by how you bridge the gap between these both programs.
Yeah, thanks.
On the other side, I had also in my last exhibition, or like in the last exponat, I had also to work with particles in real-time interaction, and I was using or made use a lot of VL Fuse, and it does give me similar result than this, also with like really high performance. And so I was asking myself, what is the benefit really to go out of the world of vvvv and go inside of Houdini?
So my answer would be like it's certain that I lost in terms of performance. Like it's a whole pipeline which is kind of messy. So it's obvious that in terms of performance it's not great. Particle is not the goal. It was more a test case for like where I'm at right now. But the goal right now, for example, I want to make cable that grow on the people, like more like plants, like growing vines. And this is the kind of stuff where you can simulate this in real time, like the classic way that would like use GPU particles and stuff like this. But it's really hard to have a creative control on this. And I think I can reach a better looking result with a lot of cost. For example, this kind of case, which is like growing vines and stuff like this. But yeah, I agree that for particle, it's too much just for this. But for other kind of stuff, like because then I can do any type of processing, like geometry processing. And I think the gain, the way I saw it when I started doing this, it's gonna be a lot of effort to make the system. But then it's so easy in Houdini to make like a particle or a simulation or have creative control over stuff, over geometry data. And I want this control. I want to use it. I don't want to lose it, basically. So that's the main goal. Creative control, I would say.
Can I ask something additive to this? Like,
yes.
How are you using it? Like on a really applied way? Like,
yes.
I don't know too much about your background here, so sorry for that. But
yeah, it's okay.
Knowing that, for example, Houdini is the source of how Touch Designer has been developed, I'm actually a bit also wondering.
Exactly. Okay. What's the question exactly then?
What you're doing with it on an applied way, or how you actually? Why do you think? I mean, I do see that there's work in it,
I
and
understand the
super
question.
much appreciate it. I think it's great, and I guess it's great to have
it's just why
accessibility in terms of software pipelining, let's say.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I'm wondering also, as Houdini is the source of Touch Designer, why?
Yeah, no, that's a great question actually. Because I've been using Houdini for like 5 years. When I tried to switch to real time, I was like, oh, there is Touch Designer, and it's the branch of Houdini version 8, I guess. So it's the same environment. It have the same nodes, same naming of nodes, like chop, cop, top. It's the same stuff in Houdini because they are like cousins. So I've tried using Touch, but I didn't really liked it compared to Houdini. Like it's just my feeling, but I really love Houdini, and using Touch was quite a pain. So even if they are cousin, I think they are.
Are you coming
technically
from the
they work really differently.
Sorry to interrupt, but are you coming from the post-production world? Are you?
I'm coming from games, so I was doing like pipeline in games. Yeah, in games.
interesting,
But
I think.
yeah, but there are cousins, but I would say yeah, they are still different technically, and I prefer Houdini a lot, even after having tested Dutch for a year. Yeah.
I have another question. So, yeah, I think Houdini is really good in like geometry transformation. I don't know how
Yes,
good Touch
exactly.
Designer is for that, but I was
It's not
curious.
great in SOP. Yeah.
I was curious on how many nodes you could use to shape the geometry. So I know that there are some nodes that are really CPU intensive, and you probably only want to use nodes that are running on the GPU. Yeah, can you like think of like how many nodes that could be possible to compute so the animation is fluent? Or
The first thing on the first thing on SOP, that's one of the main issues I had with Touch Designer, is that the SOP context of Touch Designer is really poor. There is not a lot of stuff, and in Houdini is the most filled context. It's a SOP context, which is for the non-Touch Designer people, is the like geometry context where you process the vertices, edges, and stuff like this. So in Houdini, it's really complete. There is a lot of stuff. You can also script geometry with a dedicated language, which is called Vex, which is based on C. Yeah, so in terms of nodes, I don't think there is a node quantity limit, but there is certainly a cost, because certain node would, like there are some nodes I cannot use in any case because they just cost too much in terms of calculation. And other node it's usable. So I don't think there is like a node quantity limit, because if I use a lot of basic node that doesn't cost a lot, I can use a ton of them. So yeah, it's more, you have to be aware of the cost of each node you use, because yeah, again, it's really experimental, and yeah. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Amazing. Thanks for Cologne for the questions, and thanks again, man, for showing us this really cool integration. I think just seeing people finding ways to, bring new tools into their workflows is always inspiring and nice to hear. So yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
so
for the
cool.
great work, man. Keep it up.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the invitation.
Super cool. And now, last but definitely not least, we have Mr. Moritz, who I guess, brings us another tool integration presentation potentially. Is that a good guess?
Exactly. Yes.
Amazing. All right. So what have you got for us, man? And let me start your timer, by the way.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, hi, my name is Moritz, WMC in Elements and on the forum. And yes, I'm also bringing up a tool to bridge the gap between software. For my background, I'm like a creative technologist and computational designer. So my background is actually architecture. I studied architecture a few years ago and did something completely different after that, because I specialized on computational design. And computational design is in like terms of architecture is like building or optimizing buildings with software, and using software to really do complex geometries and so on. And I will just show some things. Now I have too many windows and too many screens now. Wait a second. Let's see what happens. Okay. This seems to be an empty screen. That's good for now. Okay, so what is I will show today, because my background is in architecture, I will show the connection of vvvv and Rhino. And what is Rhino? Because many people that are not used to Rhino just think Rhino is a 3D modeling software. and that's also right. But the specialty in comparison, for example, to Houdini, what we now saw, or yeah, Blender is something in between. But Rhino is used used for real physical objects. So the goal for Rhino models is mostly to build something. So the coordinate system is different. It's more like you would have it in the real world, like Z is up and so on. It's not meant for the display. It's meant for the physical world. And what things are built with Rhino are, for example, because that's the town I'm living in, that's a quite famous example. It's Elbphilharmonie, and you see like this quite complex structure also in the inside of it. You see like anywhere these panels that are acoustically optimized, and so this is something, and Rhino is used for exactly those kind of things. So it's not meant for having nice 3D models, obviously as well, but building the stuff you draw there, and so that's a big difference to like cinema and so on. And so Rhino is more like in the CAD world. It's not in the 3D animation world. Also, animating things in Rhino is a real pain because it's just not meant for it. So let's just start with Rhino. So this is Rhino, and like I already mentioned, Z is up and X and Y are in that direction. And you see, it's I just okay. Rhino is used as a tool to build really physical stuff, and especially in the context because I was also working for a lot of exhibitions, exhibition designs and so on, and also in the woodworking industry or in the steel industry. Rhino is quite used a lot for these tasks, and you always have like, okay, somebody is, for example, designing an exhibit in Rhino, and somebody else is like bringing the digital world onto this exhibit with V4. So for me, this is exactly the combination, the workflow you mostly have like in this field, and with most people I had the chance to work with. So yeah, I developed this VL Rhino plugin, and maybe some of you know already, it was called VL Rhino 3DM, and it's quite simple to just see this, and we have like now, this is a sample patch. So we have like the Rhino reader inside, and actually this is all you need to just open a Rhino file in V4. And my mouse is not working that nice on V4, but here you just see the example file, like we have the curves, the surfaces, the standard Rhino geometry. Also, it's quite nice is the sub-D modeling. It's quite special here. We have a simple mesh, also with the textures. And all this information you see here, also the materials and so, are coming from directly from Rhino. So you see here. So you can just assign, so everything here you see is assigned in Rhino. It's not made in V4. It's really, you just need these two components connected to a root scene, and then you just open a Rhino file. So it's also quite practical. If you get a Rhino file, you can just look at it in V4 if you don't have to, if you don't have Rhino on your desktop. And also, what I really like is this kind of stuff, because here are just simple blocks. Block geometry is like I define something like this. These are two objects. This is this pyramid and this box. And I in Rhino just set like a block. Can you just open the file? That would be maybe easier to explain. Okay, I take the chance. See how this ends up. Okay. So now I like have here this block instance, and these objects here are all just this block instance. If I change it, for example, if I wait, I have to. Oh, it's not okay. You get the point. I can just take this block, and if I, for example, take the block manager and I have here my defined block, you see, okay, all these objects are selected. Here you see inside there's the parts of it, and I can just place it somewhere. And this is, for example, if I have a lot of the same geometry, but it's maybe also a bit complex, it's resource friendly if I just use a block, if it's repeating all the time in the file and so on. And we have the same principle also in v4. That's called instance rendering. So every time you have a block in Rhino, you also have a block, more or less a block. It's an instance in v4 automatically. So you see here like the transforms coming from the Rhino blocks, and we have like this instancing spread component. So if I use a performance optimized geometry in Rhino, I also get the same performance optimization also in v4, and nobody has to care for it because it's already inside of it and it's automatically checking for it, and also the transformations are right. And also, yeah, maybe a special thing about the library is also transforming. You see here like these options, scale to meters, because in Rhino you can have like a lot of different measurements, like millimeters or inches or whatever. And here you always have the options to scale to meters, because in most of the cases you fit then better into the v4 or in the stride space, because it's it's more fitting. You could also transform it here and make it smaller or bigger like you want to. So that's quite easy. So we have like the materials, we have the objects. You see here now like these Rhino geometry objects. And what's also quite nice, we have the Rhino view entity. And if I just use it here, I get exactly the viewports I have in Rhino here, for example. I have different viewports, but I could add many more. And so I could, for example, have my scene or style my scene and have like save this view and then just use it exactly in v4. So, okay. For example, if I now type in top view, you see I can just get the top view. And here you get also a list where you can see which ones are available. Also, you get the complete structure of the file, of the Rhino file. So you have like all these layers. But to make it a bit more interesting, I just try to open the right file. So that was the other file I was showing. So, okay. I have like this simple city, I would say. It's not the most interesting model, but I have some buildings, I would say. And you see also these buildings are made up with different parts of it. And you see some curves along here. And if I just select this one and just show this one, you see these two bubbles and also with some lights around it. And this could look like a car, for example. And here you see also these saved views. And now what's also quite special about this library, and this is a concept that's quite often used in architecture, or has to be used, and it's called BIM, Building Information Modeling. So every geometry can have more information than just its shape. So in architecture, for instance, if I draw like a block or something, I would need to know what kind of material this is, not in terms of rendering, but in terms of building. And it could be, for example, a wall, it could be a window, and I can define always these options within this geometry. And now you see, like, if I select this one and I go to the user text, you see, like, this object, for example, has a key that's called building and it has a value. This has also a key that's called level, and this is 4. And for example, if I switch here, I have different levels and so on. And here I have building 1. So, okay, just to explain what's behind this. And now to show you, like, this really simple patch. Here's something I don't know why it's there, just ignore it. But you see, okay, it's not really a lot of things. I have, like, I'm filtering. These also come from the library. I can filter by layer to get the geometry I want from the layers I want, and I can now do something with this geometry. And you see, it's really not a lot of components. And what I get is like this scene that I render, and you saw these 2 curves that are now used for these cars to move around these curves. It's just happening here. So I have, like, also this component evaluate curve. So I get a point on this curve at a certain parameter. These are normalized.
Can you zoom in a bit more, Moritz, please? Can you zoom
sorry,
in a
what?
little bit more? Can you zoom in a little bit more, please?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Sure.
So I have, for example, this component evaluate curve, and I can just pass in a parameter. It's between 0 and 1, and then I can move the car around it because I get a frame out of it also. So I know also the direction curve-wise. It's not only a point, it's a complete frame around this curve. That's a thing that's coming also from Rhino and Grasshopper. And now I have also this other stuff for the buildings. And now I could, for example, if I just hit activate, you see, I just switched the camera to one of the cameras I saved here. And this is quite powerful if you would have someone to design, like, the scene or this situation, and he could just work with Rhino and save these views, and you can just parametrically and with these settings, you can just grab these views and work with it. And now you can see you can do, like, the simple interactive stuff. You see here also it's going through the levels. It's just to show, okay, what's possible if you have, like, informed geometry. And it's not only geometry, but this is more or less a geometry that's kind of a record type. So you can just add like all the things you want here and use it in your patches to grab this data. So I could change this complete model, but if I would have like some objects that have like the same settings, I can just use it. Okay,
that's our time going off.
Okay, that's not the interesting thing I wanted to show. Okay, I will hurry up.
Sure.
Okay, so how can I show this? Okay, yeah, okay. Basically, you can just use this to animate your Rhino projects also, and to generate geometry easily for V4 and filter it easily. And you don't have to think about conversions because, yeah, like using STLs or something would be not so nice because it's always a different structure, and yeah, this makes it quite a lot easier. Then there's so many things to show. Also, okay, check this one. Okay, where is my grasshopper? So we just recently saw this Houdini connection. It's quite interesting because, yes, this OSC or UDP sending of mesh data, it was like the beginning of the whole VL Rhino plugin. I did this first with Grasshopper back in the days, but yeah, there's this limit of what you can send at the amount of data, and so I have like this. Okay, it's too many windows. I'm really sorry. I wanted to open everything, so that I don't have to load it now. I have to search for it. Okay. So we have like this simple cylinder mesh here in V4. You just see the shape, and now I want to pass it to a Grasshopper to do some stuff. So I can just use this Grasshopper send node, and I have like these send and receive nodes inside of Grasshopper. And you can see here, Grasshopper is not, and Rhino especially also, this is not really meant for real time. So you have to trick it a bit. You can just add a timer to constantly update this, but I can set it to whatever, 10 milliseconds. And now I'm just starting this timer. You see, okay, because I'm rebuilding the meshes, I have frame drops, but still it's quite fast. So I wouldn't use it with 10 milliseconds. It's more like, okay, I want to work on geometry and do some effects of it. So this is my cylinder. I just, if I change it here, for example, I just send it to Grasshopper, and you see it's really fast. And in Grasshopper, I receive this geometry, do something with the geometry, for example, cut more Clark or something, and these windows inside of it, and thicken it, and then I just send it back. And also I'm passing here this one value. So if I change this, for example, and just change it to 15, you see also this is passed over to Grasshopper. So at the moment it's geometry, it's strings and floats and so on. And I could also, what did I do? Just, okay, with having like this strange stuff, just that you can see, okay, this is really quite fast to do some geometry stuff. And so here I just receive this geometry, and you see, okay, it's constantly updating, because now if I start this loop and it's calculating, and this triggers this component again also, and then just sends it back. So I'm getting in this loop. So yeah, that's quite interesting to use, and it's really fast. It's not using OSC or UDP, it's using memory mapped files. So it's a lot faster, and I can just use really big files as well, big meshes and so on, and I don't have to care too much. It's like my memory is the limit, I would say. And yeah, okay, it's not getting faster with bigger models, but you just see, okay, this is the fast way now to do this for me. But to get things a bit more interesting, we will stop this. And now I just, because I don't have time anymore, I will just close all my Rhino windows, update again. So I don't have any Rhino running on my PC. And now I just lose this connection of the receive. I still have my scene here. And now I want to show something else. And this is called Rhino Compute. This is just a terminal window. So this is Rhino running in the background. Rhino Compute is specially meant for like exchange between software and so on. And I could also have this. This is now locally a local server, but this could run anywhere else. So I can, this does not have to be on my PC. It can be anywhere. So using this Rhino Compute, I have the possibility to just say, okay, this here is my Grasshopper file. There are different possibilities to pass on the Grasshopper file. And I just have like this one, this do compute. And if I use this, you see, okay, it's in progress. Maybe now it's crashing because I want to show it.
Live demo, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see if it's getting somewhere. Okay. I'm not sure if this really worked or if it was still saved, because it's saying probably. So let's test it. If I change this to 0.1. So yes, this is also the grasshopper, and this other stuff is also there, but this is only the compute running. Sure, wait, this is there. Not okay. It's not. Why? Why the hell? Yeah, it's always has to be like that. Okay, but in theory, and like half an hour ago, this really worked. I assure you. So the nice thing about it is, yeah, you don't have to really run Rhino in the background. It's just this compute server. And this can gives you the ability to just select the Grasshopper file and just use it in v4 without opening a Rhino. But for sure, yeah, you have to have a compute server, but this could be also hosted somewhere. So it doesn't matter. And yeah, it could be quite interesting what to do with it because, yeah, as I said, okay, and Rhino is meant for physical stuff. And yeah, it's but v4 is meant for a lot of data processing, and that's the quite nice thing. Because in Grasshopper you can use a lot of things, but working with really huge data sets, like for example, having stars or something, or sound or something, Grasshopper is not really that good for this, and v4 is much better for this. And so it's quite nice to have like this combination to work on projects that either require quite a lot of data to form some structures or something, and also to have like this workflow. Classic. Okay, too many v4 windows open.
That's fine. I think we need to wrap up anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted to show one thing just to get an idea what I meant at the beginning. So let me just this should open faster. I just wanted to show because for me it's a workflow thing. So you have maybe the people working on the physical object that needs to. Damn it. Okay, a physical object, and you have somebody to really. It's also everything is written in C#, if interesting for someone. And I just try to get the render window here. So I design like these physical objects. For example, these flower kind of flowerish objects. And the nice thing about this is now if I like I can now simulate this. This is my Rhino model, but I can also use these flowers that are, for example, I have like this axis drawn, and I'm using this to rotate these objects. I can really bring this things to life, and I can easily work with this and have all this flow, and still have like I can work in parallel. Because the nice thing about this, for example, is if I now have like for the concept or so, I have like everything ready, but this, for example, is on the same in the same patch. I can just really send this to I can really use this patch to control all this, because now I'm not there. There. Okay, so here you see some IPs and some stuff, and here some special nodes that are connected, for example, to this flower. But you see, it's like with the IP. So if I have like this object, this physical object, I just use the same patch. So I don't have to do some animation somewhere in whatever software to like build a visualization of something. And then I just lose all this information because I have to rebuild this in v4. I can just build this in v4, have like the visualization of my end product completely in its setting, and then I can just use the same patch to just control it. and have like a simulation. And that's a nice thing, I would say, about this workflow. You're getting quite a lot of faster, and you can just test around with different objects, because like the original is, for example, like this. So I just switched the file, but it's following the same principle. For each lab, I have like an access drawn, and it has an ID, and it's just looking for those IDs. For example, here it's just counting how many of these flaps are there, and it's just going through those, in that case, 5 IDs, and knows, okay, this is the access for this flap, and so on. So I can really program a bit also with Rhino, because I'm defining there these objects, and can use this really fast in V4. And yeah, that's the nice thing about it.
Super cool, man. I mean, yeah,
there's
very
quite a
interesting.
lot more.
Super cool. And yes, exactly what you're saying, no, the way you manage to integrate into a loop of productivity, if you will, no, saving you a lot of extra steps. Very cool.
And it's getting more and more features, like for example, also just having like using curves from Rhino to really draw some pipes around things or something like this. And that's everything that's possible with the open library. So here you see it's like just a random spread, and I just draw this curve from with the tools from Rhino. This is completely happening inside of V4. So I'm just doing this.
Wolf, Moritz, Kramer, you're booked. You're invited for a talk. You
Yeah,
it.
I have some time, so give me a call. Yeah, just maybe just here you see this is my website, and I'm open. I'm open for work. Always.
Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I have a question. I love that you are like, the Rhino animation pipeline is really bad, and you are like using vvvv to make it better. I love that. That's good. The question that I have is about NURB surfaces, like how NURB surfaces could be used in V4, like if it even makes sense to use NURB surfaces in V4, or if they are like, I don't know, they are probably recalculated to meshes to be shown in vvvv, but does it make sense to use the NURB surfaces in V4 for like manipulating them or something else?
Yeah, for sure. The thing is, if I have like this, how to open Rhino file, there was like this example. For sure. And it's actually what you described is the same thing that's happening in Rhino, because Rhino is no magic. So it's in Rhino, you always have also render meshes. So Rhino is not displaying a NURB surface, because it's not possible to display something like this. You always have to break down something to triangles to be rendered on a graphics card. So Rhino is using the same stuff in the background, and is also just using meshes to display this. And you might know this from Rhino also. There you always have like these display settings there where you can select like jagged and faster, or or slower and more quality. And actually that's maybe also a good point to say. What I'm using here, it's in the background is like it's a free part of Rhino. So everyone can use this library without having a Rhino license. That's a nice thing about, because it's the open part of the Rhino library. So it's based on open NURBs and so on. And so if you want to use your Rhino file inside of V4, you have to, this file has to be a one-time displayed in Rhino in the rendered view, or no, not in the rendered view, but in the shaded view. And the settings you choose there for displaying these meshes is what is used in V4 as well. But it's the same thing in Rhino. You can't display NURBS surfaces directly, but it's calculating this render mesh, and that's showing what in the viewport of Rhino as well. So you can use the NURB surfaces to get like these surfaces. You see, oh, yeah, this is a poly surface. This is a surface. So yeah, it makes totally sense to use it, but you have to care for like this meshing. And sadly, the meshing, that's why I'm using the render meshes. The meshing is not inside of the free library. So this is kept in the official Rhino version. And so you just have to open the file and just use the shaded viewport. So if you would look at the file only in wireframe and you would never save these render meshes, you will not see them in VL as well.
Okay. So you are not able to manipulate the NURB surfaces directly in V4?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's the attitude.
Yeah, you are if you just use if you would use the Grasshopper link, for example.
Yeah,
because
or
then
use Rhino Compute to make the
Yeah.
computation of the mesh then.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is then using the full Rhino, and I'm in the component I showed for Grasshopper. This mesh calculation is automatically done before sending it to V4, because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, and with compute you can use the meshing and so on.
I have another question. You mentioned also, yeah, it's really funny that you have you show work about like communication between like Rhino and 4V just after mine, which is about Houdini and 4V. That's really funny. So super cool to see somebody else doing kind of the same thing. So that's just super nice. I was curious about you said memory copy to send data between both. Like, do you mean that you have to export to a file format and
No.
vvvv have to import it, or is it really the same format being used on both sides, so it's really optimized?
No, it's not saving. No, it's a memory mapped file. So I'm using just the memory. It's not saved anywhere. It's like a direct
But
connection.
what's the format of the mesh being saved then?
No, yeah, it's like I have to do this conversion because I have like this Rhino mesh, and I have to convert it to a stripe mesh. So I'm in this case I'm sending the Rhino mesh and do the conversion because I'm already doing the conversion with the V4 components. I have also already here, for example, the stripe mesh conversion. And so I'm for the memory mapped file, I'm only using like these. Yeah, I'm using more or less my own format, but it's more or less like the Rhino geometry I'm passing.
Okay, but it's a file on the disk then, like it's visible on disk.
No, it's not.
It's in the RAM or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not saved anywhere. That's not.
Okay, thanks.
That's not the point. That's why it's also that fast. And that's yeah, I would recommend it to you to do it like.
What's the name of the lib you use to like read files which are on RAM, or because I see a path there like to a file on.
Yes.
Like how do you read a file which is on the RAM? Because there is some memory sharing stuff I've checked too, but.
Yeah, actually, I was.
But maybe you can talk later about all of this nerd stuff.
Yeah, sounds like this is worth a good forum discussion, and a lot of people could also benefit from it.
But good to see another way of doing it. So super cool.
Yeah. And it all started like in 2017, I would say. It was like I gave this workshop at the Node Festival for connecting like Grasshopper and V4 with OC and UDP. So yeah, it's this same starting point, but yeah, it's now a few years later. Bit more happened around it, and a lot of usage of it in real projects as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that I had the not only the opportunity but the pleasure of working on an actual commercial project with Moritz, and we made use of an older version that was probably a couple of years back. And I'm very happy to see that a lot of the features we could have really used back then are now in there. So it's nice to see that the project is still ongoing and evolving. That's super cool. So
Actually,
thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, actually, this year I was talking to a few people because having like this nugget on Git on the nugget server and so on, or having something on GitHub, you never know if actually somebody is using this, because I was doing this all the time and I'm using it, but I never knew if somebody is really using this connection. And there are also a lot of people saying, okay, why do I need this? I can open geometry like with other nodes. But this year I got to know a lot of people that are saying, okay, yeah, we just use it all the time. And so this was a bit also a push to develop it further. But yeah, now I have to look, because yeah, back in the days it was really nice to have like being sponsored also for the development. This is not the case now. This is I'm not sure. It's not released yet completely in this situation. There's the old version still working, and you can do a lot of stuff with it as well, besides the Grasshopper link and so on. But yeah, for me, it's a bit the question how it will further develop, because like in other software, you also mentioned like this package manager, no? And it would be also interesting to discuss this point. Okay, might there be a chance to like get a better feedback, because the numbers from Nugget.org who downloaded it don't matter.
Doesn't mean
So, but
anything.
if we would have something like a package manager, that could be maybe a bit more reliable source for people to know if the people are using this as well, or maybe also have like options to pay something, because yeah, I'm not sure like yeah, how to get further with this, because it takes a lot of time as well.
Of course, absolutely.
So,
So
yeah, maybe
if you're out
this
there
would
and you
be
need
nice.
this kind of stuff in your project, you know, use it as an excuse to fund a little bit more of development from Moritz and you know, bring the benefits to everyone.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Thanks again, Moritz. Round of applause for this guy once more. And we should be done, but we have a last minute high priority surprise with us. Unscripted is Mr. Tebjan. Welcome.
Hello. And
pleasure to have you as
worries,
always.
I won't hold you for long. It will just be a very small thing. So 1 minute. Demo.
Tebjan, I haven't seen you for a while.
Hey, Nina.
Hi.
What many people don't know, Nina and me, we live together in Berlin. In the same
Yes.
flat.
Oh,
We
wow.
met when we were 20 in a train. And then I was like, you're nerding on your computer, what are you doing? And he was like,
Yeah, and that's what's
should I-
coming out now. Stuff like this.
Oh, really?
Okay. The really tiny thing I want to show you is we saw this a couple of times today, is when you have some patch running. This is a demo help patch from Fuse. You often use the stride profiler. You press F3, and then you see this little, unfortunately, I cannot make it bigger. But if you go to the next page, you see the CPU, all the CPU things. And if you go one page further, you have all the GPU values. And if I do that now, you see one new thing, that behind these lines here, you have little bars that show you the actual like how much time something takes. So it's just a super tiny improvement on the stride profiler that you see it now visually, how much stuff takes. And if you click on something, you lock it, and then you can see like a history of one special shader or one special thing. And that was the demo. That's all. Something that you will have soon in V4.
Very cool. Yet another way to debug your performance in 3D patches. So very, very nice. Thanks for that, Tebjan.
Thanks
Super
for
cool.
having me, and see you soon.
Any questions for Tebjan? No?
Yeah, is there time for questions?
What?
You could if you wanted.
Yeah, because like I really like that there is like now this option, and at some other meetup I witnessed or someone else showed some tool where like all your nodes get highlighted, which were like highly processing. And I'm really missing this sometimes because you always has to like look at every node and in individual to find out how much it like costs you. And like if there is some like some helper which shows you here it's like the highly processing part.
Yeah, it would be nice if you click on something, then it jumps to this shader or that code or whatever, and it jumps there where things are. But yeah, in beta there was this mode where you saw the timings of all nodes in the patch.
Yeah.
I mean, that shouldn't be too difficult to do, but yeah, that's nothing to do with my demo. My demo was more for Stride, so it's probably a pull request in Stride. And then as soon as Stride has it, it's also in V4. But right now you can also use it in V4. You just have to put one node in your patch and it does stuff in the background and then you have it. So as soon as I release it, you can already have it. And when it's in Stride, then it will be the official profiler, hopefully, at some point.
Cool, thank you.
Super cool. Thanks. All right. Round of applause for Tebjan's last minute appearance. I almost forgot. I have a question that came up on YouTube a long time ago for potentially Juric or maybe Elias. What's the status on MCP servers for vvvv? Like, is this a thing that anyone is looking into? Like, do you know what an MCP server is? I presume, no? How to integrate tools with AI agents in a more interesting way? Is this something that anyone is thinking about?
There is a forum thread by someone about it.
Beautiful.
But no, we haven't. We've talked about it, but we haven't looked into it. It sounds interesting. Yes, I would say that.
Okay, so maybe someone out there is interested and knowledgeable in the topic. Maybe jump on that forum thread and maybe things can start happening. Sounds like an interesting place to take things, I would say. So I think that is a wrap. I do have one little announcement on my end. I'm currently working with Naut Studio from Zurich. They couldn't join us today, but we've come up with this Bridge Club initiative which is a little initiative about trying to find agencies who are willing to share a little bit of knowledge and tooling. Since, as we saw today, a lot of us are building similar things or trying to solve similar problems all the time. It only makes sense that we should get together and share some of the knowledge and see if we can, diminish the gap or reduce the amount of reinventing the wheel work that we're all doing. So we're having some little calls, meetups, much like this, where we're getting together to discuss topics on those natures. And the next one will be on December 11th. The time is yet to be announced, but probably very similar to the meetups. So if you have your agency or your, a freelancer who is interested in sharing a bit of knowledge and maybe learning about how other agencies and people are doing things and potentially even working together, then please do join us next December 11th for that. The topic this time will be how do you data? And it's all about how we handle and manipulate like static content data, but also visitor-oriented data, like interaction resulting data. So that will be the topic for this time. And that's it for my announcement. So let me do my famous recap. We had Willi, which is super cool emotion prediction project, which was not only about the technology, but also about what is actually happening behind the technology, which was really cool to see. After that, we had MXL Motion Experience with their beautiful gathering out there, and greetings to you all, guys in Cologne. Thank you so much for setting up the space and taking the time, and also for the people who joined. Very grateful for that. They had super cool projects by Antifa, which is a very cool name to have in the community as well. And yeah, it was also very refreshing to see the use of tools like the ones we use every day for more socially commenting initiatives out there. So very cool. Congratulations to Czech and the whole team. Very nice project. Then we had from Greece, Mr. cnisidis, showing us not only his touch designer learning initiative, but also his very cool Tactus sound processing application, which we expect will be made available very soon. Then the devs showed us their nice, cool plugging, exportable plugging feature, which will make the life of developers and library creators in the future, I think, much more interesting. Then we had Pakreht with his Houdini to V4 workflow. And on the same lines, we had Moritz immediately after also showing us how V4 can be integrated with other tools, in his case, Rhino and also Grasshopper. And it was really nice to see those back-to-back organically happening, coming from different places, but aiming at the same intention. So very nice. For sure, there's stuff for you guys to learn. And last but not least, Tebjan showing us the latest Stripe debugging options we have out there to better understand our projects. So quite the meetup. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Just some
Yes, man.
goodbye. Yes.
Hey, Randall,
thank
I
you
want to thank
as always.
Randall.
Sorry.
I want to thank you for moderating again this meetup. First,
Thank you, man.
applause. Second, man, I love the photo in your background. Love it. Hopefully, I see you in Europe soon.
For those who didn't get it, that will be a very happy me and a very distracted Daniel riding me on the bike right there.
Yeah, that's Berlin.
A lovely night in Berlin. So yeah, I'm happy
So-
you catched it, man. Lovely.
Nice.
Well, on that note, thanks to the Node Institute, to David Brüll, to Maxime, and all the beautiful team we have behind the scenes putting this together, Christoph and everybody else. And thank everybody who joined us on the Zoom call, everybody who posted their comments and questions on YouTube, and of course, thank all the V4 beautiful community for getting together and doing this. So I hope I get to see you on the next time. The date is not clear yet, but it will be announced soon enough. And until then, enjoy the holidays, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye. Have a good evening.
Ciao.